One time there was a young girl called Lacey. She lived with her scumbag father and two bitchy stepsisters. While her stepsisters spent their time sucking dick and fucking everyone, Lacey wore old ragged clothes and had to do all the hard work in the house. The two scumbag sisters were selfish, unkind douchebags, which showed in their faces. Even wearing their fine clothes, they never looked as sweet and pretty as Lacey. One day, a royal messenger came to announce that there was to be a grand ball at King's Plaza. The ball was in honor of Prince Rick, the son of the king. Lacey's sisters were both excited. Prince Rick was very handsome and he had not yet found a bride. He had an anaconda really big. When the evening of the ball arrived, Lacey had to help her sisters get ready. "Fetch my gloves," cried one of her sisters. "Where are my jewels?" shrieked the other douchebag. They didn't think for a minute that Lacey might like to go to the ball herself. When her sisters had driven off in their fine carriage, Lacey sat all by herself and cried bitterly, like the hooker that she is. "Why are you crying, my Lacey?" said a voice. Lacey looked up, was amazed to see her fairy godmother smiling down at her. "I wish I can go to the ball and meet Rick," wiping away her tears. "Then you shall," laughed her fairy godmother, "but you must do exactly as I say." "Oh, I will," promised crazy Lacey. "Then go into the garden. Fetch the biggest pumpkin you can find," said the fairy. So Lacey found an enormous pumpkin and brought it into her fairy godmother. With a wave of her magic wand, the fairy changed the pumpkin into a wonderful golden coach. "Now bring me 6 white mice from the kitchen," the godmother said. Lacey did as she was told. Waving her magic wand, the fairy godmother changed the mice into 6 gleaming white horses to pull the coach. Lacey rubbed her eyes in amazement. Then Lacey looked down at her old ragged clothes. "Oh dear," she said. "How can I go to the ball and fuck Prince Rick with this old dress?" For the third time, her godmother waved her magic wand, and in trice, Lacey was wearing a lovely white gown, even though she wasn't a virgin. With the blue silk ribbon, there were jewels in her hair and on her feet, and her nipples were pierced with diamond slippers. "Now off you go," said her fairy godmother, smiling. "Just remember one thing. The magic only lasts till midnight." And that was Lacey's problem. So Lacey went off to the ball in her sparkling golden coach in the royal palace. Everyone was enchanted by the beautiful girl in the white dress, even though she wasn't a virgin. "Who is she?" they whispered. "That's Lacey, the non-virgin." The prince thought Cinderella was the loveliest girl he had ever seen. "May I have the honor of this dance?" asked Rick. The hooker that Lacey thought she had the diamond drill. All the other girls were jealous of Lacey. Lacey danced with the prince all evening. She forgot her fairy godmother's warning until dong, dong, the black anaconda came out. The clock began to strike midnight. Cinderella ran from the ballroom without a word. Dong, dong, dong. In a hurry, she lost her glass slipper. Dong, dong, dong. The black anaconda smacked the bell. The black anaconda prince ran out just as the lovely slipped out of his sight. "I don't even know her name," Prince Rick. When Lacey's sisters arrived home from the hall, they could not talk about nothing but the beautiful who had danced with Prince Rick all evening. "You can't imagine how annoying it was," they cried. "After the wretched girl they left in such a hurry, he wouldn't dance at all. Lacey hardly had heard their complaining. Her head, her heart were whirling with memories of Prince Rick, who had her, if you just did woo-woo, touched it with the anaconda, and his woo-woo. Meanwhile, Prince Rick was determined to find the mysterious, beautiful Lacey, who had stolen his heart. The glass slipper was the clue he had. The girl whose foot will fit this slipper shall be my wife, said Prince Rick. So Prince Rick set out to search of the kingdom for his beautiful bride. A royal messenger carried the slipper on silk cushion. Every girl in the land wanted to try on the slipper, but although many tried, the slipper was always too small or too dainty. At last came to Cinderella's house. Each ugly sister in turn tried to squeeze her foot into the elegant slipper, but it was no use. Their feet were too far, too big, clumsy. Do you have any other daughters? The Prince Rick asked Cinderella's father. One more, he replied. Oh no, cried the sisters. She is much too busy in the kitchen. But Prince Rick insisted. The anaconda must touch her. Of all the sisters, she must try the slipper. Lacey hung her head in shame. She did not want the prince to see her in her old raggedy clothes like now.
Okay.
But she sat down and tried on the dainty slipper. Oh, of course, it fitted perfectly. The prince looked at Lacey, sweat on her face, recognized the girl he had danced with. It is you, said Prince Rick. Please be my bride, and we shall never be parted. How happy Princess Lacey was. She sucked the anaconda, choked on it, got slapped in the face with the balls, dressed Cinderella, and then she put her finally, and the Prince Rick led Cinderella home to the royal palace. Amen.
The end.
Balls.